Hello and welcome to Spring Office Hours, episode number 57, Spring Academy. My name is Dan Vega, Spring Developer Advocate at VMware, joined by my good friend and coworker, DaShaun Carter. DaShaun, how are you doing? I can't hear you.
How about now? You've
Now
been on
I
my
can hear
mind.
you. There we go.
You have been on my mind all day because earlier today we were talking about stuff and people were asking like, "Hey, where do I learn? And what else do you do? Where else do you stream?" And I said, "You know what? Later today, me and my friend Dan are going to be doing spring office hours." You've been on my mind. I did a little stream earlier today. So hi, welcome back, welcome home. I'm glad that you're here. I was only a little bit jealous of your trip to Barcelona. Tell me about
Oh
it.
man, coming back from Barcelona, first time in Barcelona for VMware Explore Barcelona, and it was amazing. My only complaint is I didn't get enough time there. The long flight there, the long flight back, lots of work to do. But it was amazing being at VMware Explorer. Such a great conference, so many great announcements from VMware. I got to do a couple presentations there. Great dinners. We had a really cool spring meetup at McLaren, which was like this
I was
private showing of like,
totally jealous of that.
oh my God,
Totally
McLaren
jealous.
cars. They had like a basement full of like classic cars. We did like Cora and I did a little intro in like history of spring. We had spring cupcakes and champagne. It was the greatest thing ever. So yes, it was an
Totally
awesome trip.
jealous.
I got to spend some time with Sergey. So if you don't know Sergey, he is one of the creators. The basically runs Spring IO, the conference in Barcelona. So I tried to put in some goodwill and say I'll see you back in May.
Maybe I'll see you in
Um,
May.
and guess what? He is at the top of mind today as we're talking about Spring Academy. I know he's
Yes.
done a lot of great work on Spring Academy, so we'll bring
If
that
you're
up.
going my route, he's the first one that you'll see. Like you'll see
Yep.
he's the first
Yep.
author of the first course on your path to spring certification.
Yep.
But we'll get into that a
So
little bit later.
we have a special guest. I'm excited to talk to our special guest in just a minute, but I just want to get through a couple news items before we do that. Okay. And then, yes, anyone here who is in the live chat with us, please go ahead and get your questions in. We'd love to get those answered. If you are not on the live chat with us, if you're catching us on the podcast replay, you can join us every Tuesday at 3:30 Eastern. Jump in the live chat, ask your questions. If you're on the live chat and you want to catch this later, we should be available on all your major podcast networks. So I am going to share my screen real quick, DaShaun, and we're going to get through a couple things, and then we'll get to our special
Perfect.
guest. So first off, VMware Explorer. I was there last week. A lot of these videos are up now. So if you didn't get to attend, you can watch on demand. Go ahead and check that out. Jonathan, I got to spend some time with Jonathan too, so that was great. Another thing, calendar.spring.io. This is our release calendar. You get a look into what's happening in the Spring ecosystem. I wanted to bring this up because I don't know if you see what's happening on Thursday. A very special release on Thursday.
9 days, but who's counting?
No, this Thursday.
Wait, this Thursday.
What's happening this Thursday? Before Spring Boot 3.2 can come out, something else needs to come out.
Of course.
Spring Framework 6.1 is coming out on Thursday.
Of course.
So excited about that. And then we get to use it live on start.spring.io next Thursday as we're eating our turkey here in the US. So excited about that. So I wanted to bring that up. Yes, very important release next week with Spring Boot 3.2. We are going to be off next week as far as Spring Office Hours goes. But if you come back on the 28th, after, if you have a little vacation, if you got a little time off, come back on the 28th. We are going to have a special Spring Boot 3.2 release party where we talk about everything that's new in Spring Boot 3.2.
So 2 weeks from today, same
Yep.
time, same channel.
Yep.
2 weeks from today.
It's going to be fun. It's good. And normally we stick to an hour. I don't think we're going to be able to stick to an hour that day. It's just going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a party. Like
Yes.
we can dress up, right?
Yes. We could do whatever we want to do.
I'm gonna dress up.
Cool. So those are the two things. One more thing I just want to kind of get out there. Oh, what do we got?
Just our community is great. I love this group.
Yes. One more thing I want to get out there is Spring AI and Spring CLI, two projects our friend Mark Pollock works on. It was announced that they are no longer under the Spring experimental projects. So this is huge, and I just wanted to quickly talk because I don't know if anybody actually realizes like how this happens internally. But usually somebody suggests a new project, right, within the Spring ecosystem, and that is introduced in an experimental repo. So it's not really public yet. It's out there. There's a repo. People can see it, but it gets into there, and then it needs to kind of pass some guidelines to graduate out of experimental. Things like, hey, is the community adopting it? Are we getting good feedback from the community? Internally, from a Spring perspective, do we have enough people to work on that particular project, right? Where is it going to live long term? There are some things that happen internally with this project, and then once we kind of pass all of those, then it kind of graduates out of the experimental project, and now it's ready to be an official Spring project. So all that said, Spring AI, Spring CLI, two projects I'm really excited about, are graduating out of experimental project. And as far as Spring AI goes, I believe that is going to go GA early next year. So really, really soon. So just wanted to say I'm excited about those two things. Wrong one. All right.
Well, wait.
With that, we're going to get to today's topic. We're going to be talking about Spring Academy today. And to do so, we are going to bring on our good friend, Felipe Gutierrez. Felipe, how's it going?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Wonderful.
Doing great. Doing
Thanks for
great.
joining
This is something we've wanted to do for a while, so we are excited about this. But before we jump into Spring Academy, what is it? Why should anybody care about it? I want to learn a little bit more about you, Felipe. You work here at VMware, but tell us a little bit about you, about your role here, and what you're up to.
All right. Well, I think a good introduction will be fine. I've been doing Spring since like forever, I believe. So I started with even when Spring Source. At that time, we have Spring Source part of the consulting team, and suddenly changing into different groups, and education practically was kind of my major thing to do. So education and teaching Spring around the world is like the most fun that I have so far in all
Yep.
these years. Almost 10 years teaching Spring, even writing books. So you can find me on Amazon, on Apress,
Nice.
bestsellers like Pro Spring Boot, and a Spring Cloud Data Flow, and Spring Messaging, all that kind of stuff. So I love Spring, and of course having you guys in the community is the best thing ever. So that's me. That's Felipe, and right now I'm with the Spring Academy team, also as an author for some of the courses.
Awesome. Yeah. Once you I don't know if anyone else. I mean, I'm sure other people have gotten this too, but I feel the same way about you. Like once you get that like teaching bug, and you don't need to be like an adjunct professor, right? Like once you get that teaching bug of like maybe you wrote a blog post and somebody learned something from you, or you did a live stream like DaShaun did today and somebody learned something from you. It's like the greatest feeling in the world that you were able to like learn something, teach that back, and somebody else
Yes.
like learned something from you. And
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
yeah,
Of course.
and
Absolutely.
so
100%.
that's like the whole basis for what we're going to talk about today. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think
So
I'm gonna
okay.
jump. People come in and they're always like, "Hey, like, where do I go? How do I start?" Spring Dot Academy is kind of the thing. Like, I have a Spring Boot interview on Thursday. How should I prepare? Well, we have something just for you, Trey. Pay attention. Pay close attention, because this is
Of
it.
course.
All right, so we're talking about Spring Academy. We'll talk. We're gonna do a little bit of a high level overview. We'll talk some details, and then we'll share screen later, and we'll kind of dive into some of the details. But for the folks out there who have not visited Spring Academy, at a high level overview, what is it?
Well, Spring Academy is your number one source of how to get to know the Spring framework, and in this case, all the Spring technologies. Right now, I think there's not going to be any place that is going to teach you how to use a Spring with the best practices, the best way to actually implement your applications, right? So right now, I'm seeing a lot of like Udemy, of course, like Coursera, guys who could try to teach Spring. There are very good courses, but imagine right now all these courses are coming from the guys who practically created the technology, right? So this is practically the bless that we have as part of the Spring Academy team, that we have, to work with the actual guys who invented the technology. You guys,
Mm-hmm.
you are the guys who created all this, and it's such kind of a fun to actually work with you guys and practically have the content that allows you, any particular user, to understand with the minimal effort how to use a Spring, how to use a Spring Boot, and how to use any single technology that we provide, right? So I think this is the best place, to learn Spring. Of course, you've been start with the guides. When we go through all these, you have the Spring guides that allows you to go to each individual technology to have a sense of what they look like. How can you actually implement into your application? But here on Spring Academy, now we're talking about projects that you can do, play with the infrastructure, practically modify the code live, that you can actually feel how it looks like, how you can implement things in your own works or in your own projects, right? So that's kind of the main core of Spring Academy, kind of offer the best experience to learn the Spring framework, and of course, every single technology that Spring offers.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that really stuck out to me as you were kind of describing that was best practices. A lot of the times that we have been on tour talking to customers, talking to developers, one of the things that we hear most is Spring's been around for 20 years. So if you go search for something, how to do X in Spring, you're going to get a whole lot of results, and it's really hard to filter down and figure out like which one of these is current, which one of these is a best practice. Should I be blindly copying this code and pasting it into my production workload, right? And so you just don't know. And so, like, being able to have a place like Spring Academy where you could say, this is where you can go, this is where the best practices are going to be used because, like you said, this is everyone in the Spring team who's worked on the project are there helping put this together. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is just having a place, because outside before Spring Academy, outside of that, the only place I felt very confident about sending people to was the documentation, because I know that's up to date. Even my stuff, even the content that I create is out of date, right? Like it's really hard to keep up to date with everything that's going on in the Spring ecosystem. So I'm glad we have like a place to kind of push everyone towards.
Java's coming out with a new version every 6 months. Spring Boot
Yep.
is coming out with a new version every 6 months. Spring Framework is coming out with a new version every year. Things are moving fast. Like, it is great to have a source that's always staying up to date. There's a good question here. Like, with Spring Academy being so awesome, what about the Spring Core classroom training? The, like, hey, I have a Spring trainer and we can teach and we can ask questions. Is that going to go away?
Well, just to answer that question, right now we're in the works on upgrading the material. Right now, the material is just covering the Spring Boot 2.5, and we're talking right now a kind of a how long it's going to take us to actually do the latest. Now, for us, it's going to be a little how can I say, like a fun problem, right? uh, because now the cadence of you guys is less. I mean, it's like a very short cadence now every 6 months. So
Yep.
imagine to start doing all these updates. But this is the cool thing: we are moving with you guys, so we are trying to keep up to date every single course. So practically, in a future, right now we're still kind of a pending on see if the instructor-led training is going to continue or not. But for now, the thing that I know is that we still kind of deciding what to do. So practically, stay tuned. Right now, like it's not gonna go away. Right now, we still keep have our own partners that are doing teaching,
Mhm.
so you can continue. I mean, if you're required to have some instructor-led training, please by all means just go to the VMware site and you can choose your class. But of course, we have the latest and greatest from Spring Academy. So I think the best option will be just to come here, right, with us on Spring Academy.
Yep. So if I, and again, we're gonna for the everyone here on the live stream, we're gonna jump into a screen share in a little bit and take a look at some things. But if I head over to Spring Academy right now and I want to get some content, there is a free option, so I can go in and I can sign up for free, don't have to pay any money, and I get a lot of things out of the box. Then there is a paid option. Can you talk a little bit about what comes with the free option and what advantages do I have to moving up to the paid option?
Yes, so we have a free content and of course the paid content. Normally, the paid content will be more advanced, and of course, it's going to be more elaborate. The course is kind of a more in length, and now you get more deeper into every single technology that we are going to teach you in this case.
Mm.
So
Yep.
practically we are defining all these kind of a paths that allow you to become as much a kind of a experienced developer for every single technology that Spring offers. And of course we have the, you can say, like the free part, where even though if you take a look into the Spring Batch course or uh, the security one, the one that I did, it's like a beginner, intermediate kind of a level. So even if you have a free access to some of these courses, practically you have all the necessary knowledge, to understand like very well how this technology is about and how can you implement it into your project. So that's kind of the difference, right? We try to do this as much as free as possible, right? So
Awesome.
practically right now the pro, you can say, is like it's going to help you to do certifications, right? So
Mhm.
probably you're gonna ask me about that, but I'm gonna let you do it.
Yeah, yeah. So we were gonna get into that. So the pro version, if you go on the website, you pay a fee for it. It comes with an exam voucher to take the spring certification. I want to point out to people, because I don't think they realize this, the day and age that we're in. If you wanted to get spring certified before Spring Academy, this was a much harder process to do. You had to go be somewhere in person, train with someone. It was a lot more money. The process was a lot, and you had to get very serious if you wanted to get certified, right? Now you sign up for a pro account on Spring Academy, and you get all of the content that you need to prepare for the exam, and then you get that voucher to go ahead and take that certification. So I love this just for that, because this makes that much more tangible for everyone. And so I'm excited about this. I am not spring certified. DaShaun is not spring certified.
I'm working
I
on it.
am I am taking I have a goal for the new year to go through Spring Academy when everybody's trying to learn something new in January. One of my goals for the new year is to go through Spring Academy and get spring certified. Now, let's hope I don't fail this exam, because I think I automatically lose my job if that happens. But I'm excited
Yes,
about going through the content and getting certified. And along that same topic, we had a question. A friend of the show, Darcy, asked on Twitter. She was like, what what when it comes to certifications, what are they valuable these days? Certifications in general. How about the spring certification? Is that valuable? I have some thoughts on this, but I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts on certifications in general.
Sean, do you have any or
Yes. Early in my career, my parents didn't really know what I did. They're not technical, but when I said, "Hey, I got certified," they're like, "That's my boy!" Like, yeah, woo! Like it says so. It says, "Hey, I spent time doing something in here." Now, what does it mean beyond that? I'm not sure. Like, it's valuable though. Like, if I'm working towards a goal, I'm gonna run a marathon this weekend, and I'm working towards a goal. And when I'm done, hey, I'm done. I got a little medal. I got a little shiny
Yeah.
certification that I ran the Philadelphia Marathon. So, the explicit versus implicit, like external versus internal, like
Hmm.
where are you going to put the value? Does having a certification automatically get you, $80,000 more in your next job? No, unless you're starting at zero, maybe. But yeah, there's it's proof. It's you made it out of kindergarten. You're on your way somewhere. The other major thing, the most important thing for me, you're a continuous learner. You're somebody
Hmm.
that can take something, whether you've been using it for 40 years or whatever, you can be a continuous learner. Dan, going after your spring certified professional, going after it. You've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
But you're telling me, your teammate, you're telling me that you are a continuous learner, and yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the
Yeah.
most important part.
Yeah. I'm gonna echo the same exact thoughts. Like, yeah, as somebody who used to interview people and see like certified this, certified. If I have two candidates who are exactly equal, and I see it's a certification, it's not the piece of paper that I'm awarding to that person. It's that the person went through that process. Like, yes, I took the time to learn everything I needed to learn, spent the time, actually put time into this and got certified. And like, yeah, the piece of paper, I don't know what it means at the end of the day, but it's the process of like putting you did something you didn't have to do. Unless your boss is like breathing down your neck saying you must be certified. I doubt that's happening in a lot of places, but you took the time to like go through and get certified. So I'm a big fan of it, and even someone who's been doing this for 22 years and has been involved in spring for 10 years, like I'm going to do it because like it's just another way that I'm sure there are a bunch of things I don't know about. So
Right.
I want to fill those gaps. I want to learn a little bit more, and the piece of paper at the end of the day is just my reward for practicing.
Daniel puts a question out there, but the person went through the process to get the piece of paper. Like, Dan, Felipe, in the greater picture, in a court of law, you both could be held up as an expert spring developer. Guaranteed, you could be put in a court of law and they would say, yes, you've been doing it for this long, you'd be an expert. But that doesn't mean that you know everything about spring.
Right?
Your expertise is in the top 1% of spring developers, spring engineers, period. Hands down, no doubt about it. But you and I, and like, we want to learn more. We're still trying to learn. That piece of paper just says, hey, we've covered some gaps or we've
Yep.
reviewed some things that we haven't touched in a while.
DaShaun,
So,
we do this every week, and every week I learn something. So there's a
absolutely.
lot more to learn.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
So
so I'm
yeah,
excited
there's
about
a
that.
piece of
yeah.
paper there, and it's a pat on the back. It's a you get cookies, right? Like we got to
I love
celebrate these
cookies.
wins.
Well,
Celebrate these
guys,
wins.
let me tell you this. I probably I didn't mention, but I was one of the main authors for the certification questions, right? So that's why you need to treat me well, right? Every the next time we see each other, hey, I can accept any cookies or something,
Cookies.
right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna do my exam, so yeah. I can give you some pointers there, of
All
I
course.
think
right,
this is
all
a
You
good
right.
know,
question.
kind of the idea of the certification. So when we actually created the questions, and I know that I saw some of the in the chat talking about if we're doing this kind of a cadence. of upgrading the material because it's based on what you guys are doing for the Spring Framework or the Spring Boot.
Hmm.
Practically the main thing on the certification is that you need to be knowledgeable of the core, right? We're not
Okay.
gonna ask you very particular, hey, yeah, what is on 2.5 that we deprecated in 3.2? No, no, no. We are going to the core. Practically, you need to know about Spring Framework. You need to know about the life cycle of the Spring Beans. You need to know about how auto configuration works on Spring Boot. You need to know a little bit about AOP, kind of at the main core of the Spring Framework. You need to know about how to do rest, right? So that's essential things. So practically, we are not asking you like, yeah, what is the class that you need to extend in order to do these things? Nothing like that. We are a kind of the objective is that the people who know Spring and who know how that works practically is going to pass without any problem, right? So that's I think that's the main purpose of the certification. And of course, we give you the paper, and believe me, if you pass the exam, and I've seen other, in other technologies, but if you pass this exam, we guarantee that you know the Spring Framework because it's a multiple option, of course. And of course, if you know about how that means when they ask you auto configuration and how that works, and all these particular detailed questions, and you answered them, practically you already know. You don't. It's not like you're guessing or something like that. Practically,
Okay.
the guys who go and take the exam, they should know, right? So that's what we provide that for the companies that are looking. Hey, are you a certified on Spring? They're gonna know if they are certified by VMware or Spring Academy. They already know that with all confidence that these guys know about Spring. So that's kind of the main core of the Spring certification.
Before we get to this question, that's a great question. I wanted to ask. So you go through. There's all this content that is going to prepare me for this certification. Is there any kind of like test prep or like exam prep to like say, let me just see where I'm at before I go off and take the test?
Well, practically on the learning path that we provide with the Spring Academy Pro, that actually guide you through all the courses that they need to be taken.
Okay.
Uh, they give you a sample at some point in
Awesome.
practical the last part. They give you some examples of the question that you are
Cool.
going to be or they're going to be into the exam. So
Cool.
yeah, we are preparing you for that.
Now I know I said it's just a paper, but believe me, if I get one of those, it's going right up here somewhere. Cool. I think you had a question,
Yeah,
DaShaun.
this
It
is a good
was
question. I
along.
think
Yeah, it's a great question.
at the risk of going a little off topic, I think it's exactly on topic. Regarding the Spring certification, is that a generic certification or for the entire Spring ecosystem, or are there specializations? Right. The follow up was like, look, the ecosystem is much bigger. So this is really about understanding how the core of Spring works and understanding how that ecosystem gets expanded and adopted and how we're taking third party things, like understanding kind of the ecosystem at a high level. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yep.
it's kind of, hey, understand the core
Yes.
and be able to grow with it. Now the follow up question is like, hey, if I'm a Spring certified developer, does that like expire at some point?
Nope. No,
Never expires.
actually, it depends, right? On yeah, if you want to imagine, yeah, I taking right now my exam, and right now it's a Spring Boot 3, and suddenly we are on a Spring Boot 4, right?
Hmm?
Now I want to get certified on that. At the very end, the core questions are there, and probably yeah, it will be maybe the new way to do REST with the new HTTP exchanges, right? So
Hmm?
that will be the only thing different. But what we actually want from you guys is to learn actually what is behind the scenes. If you understand this, practically any new technology, you are going to apply the same pattern again and again. Like, for example, if we're talking about the JDBC template, you already know that the template pattern it practically avoids you all these hassle of connections, sessions, retries, and all that kind of stuff. Practically, you let the JDBC template do the work for you. Now, if in the question comes something like Rabbit template, it's going to be the same, right? Or you have something like JMS template, right? It's going to be the same. So practically, we want for you to learn the core of a Spring and apply these concepts in any new technology that we provide, right? So at the very end, that's kind of the main objective for this.
Some certifications have an expiration. I'm looking over here at my certifications. My CCAD certified Kubernetes app developer, it expired a year ago. I've got to go take it. It's moving fast. But this is
Yes,
more of a fundamental core course.
that
So
is correct.
once you get that certification, it doesn't expire, it doesn't go away. You can hold it up, you can
Well,
do the thing,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
understand
Right
the core.
now, yeah, right now for VMware, I think we have an expire of 3 years.
3 years. Good.
So yeah, practically, and it depends. Right now, again, we are working on the new, new courses, new learning paths that allows you to actually move with the technology that we are providing, right? So that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, and I know one of the big things Spring Academy does well is take feedback from the community, from developers. I'm going to throw something out there right now based on everything we've been talking about here. I would love to see like a Spring Foundation certification and then maybe some specialized versions like, hey, I really know Spring data or I really know Spring security. Those would be really nice to see. So just throwing that out there.
Yes, actually, we are working on those, but
Yes.
Right on.
Cool. All right. What else we got here? Just looking. Cool. So why don't we? What I'd love to do now is, I believe you're going to share your screen. We're going to go through some things. You're going to show us how to find Spring Academy. We're going to talk about some of the courses that have recently come up and maybe some of the things that you guys are working on. Now, remember, we do have a podcast audience, so let's try and be
Okay.
as descriptive as possible when we're talking to the folks that aren't here in the live stream.
yes. So yeah, I'm sharing right now my screen, and remember, guys, you can go to spring.io, and practically at the top level, you are going to find, of course, all the main menu, practically why Spring, learn Spring, and as you can see, we have the guides, we have the projects, and then we have a special dedicated link for Spring Academy. Practically, we have courses and get certified courses. It's going to give you it's going to take you to the general page, but then on get certified is going to take you to the learning path, something that you must know in order to get certified, right? So again, kind of the two different ways that you can do is to get into Spring Academy is just go to spring.io. In the top menu, we have the dedicated academy link where we have courses and get certified. So I'm going to press courses right now. And as you can see, we have right now I'm logged in, but let me go back just a little bit and show you. This is the home page. This is the Spring Academy. Uh, and at the top level, we have the guides, courses, the learning path that normally is going to take you to the pro experience, meaning that you can pay for, in this case, to get more content into a Spring Academy. But not only that, it's going to give you a kind of a path for getting certified. It's going to give you a voucher so you can actually do your exam online. And of course, all the instructions are coming there once you sign up for that. Of course, we have the guides at the top level, courses, learning path, the instructors, and teams. Something that I want to point out I mean, if you go and scroll
Josh.
over the first web page, uh, you're going to see all the plans and the pricing on this. And of course, you can create your account for free. You are going to have the experience right there with actually very good courses that allows you to understand what Spring is. And of
And
course, we have,
this is
yes,
no credit cards, right? I don't need to put in a
no
credit
credit
card.
cards, no
I love
nothing.
that. I love that. I hate
Yep.
free things that you got to put credit cards
Yes.
in for. So
That
that
is
doesn't
correct.
seem free to me.
It's free
And of
for me.
course, you have the other, right? So you have all the prep courses that in this case is the Spring Framework and Spring Boot, plus, of course, your exam voucher. And I think it's a very good deal, right? So
Yes.
$299 a year. And of course, I want to mention at some point that if you are part of a company that is looking to say, hey, I have 100 developers and I want, to get certified on Spring, of course, we have a discount for 20 or more people, right? And the good
Perfect.
thing is that in Spring Academy, you as a manager, practically logged in, you can create your free account and you can start creating teams and you can start
Nice.
even assign them what
Ooh,
you requires for them to learn. So this is a very cool
love that.
kind of feature that you can do over here. So let me guide you through what you're normally going to see once you log in and register. So what you're gonna see, of course, are the guides. The first thing are going to be the guides, and again, let me kind of going back and forth on this, where these guides, everything that you are seeing here, we are converting the guides that the Spring team already placed into the Spring.io and have the feature of for the user, the student, to actually test it right here in our infrastructure. So in other
Nice.
words, so for example, if I go again to my Spring IO, and with this Spring IO, if I go to guides on Learn over here at the top, if I hit guides, I'm gonna see all the guides. And for example, I can choose messaging with RabbitMQ. If I click here, you're gonna notice now that on your right, not only you're gonna get the code for this particular guide,
Oh,
but
nice.
also it says for free,
When did
you
that
can
when did
work in
that
the
show up?
cloud,
Yeah.
go to Spring Academy,
When
right?
did that
I,
So
show
if you
up? When
click,
did that feature become released? Because
yeah.
that's
I didn't
awesome.
know that was there. That's awesome.
hey, like a few months ago.
Oh man.
So
Perfect. So
it was
so if you do it from Spring.io, you have to manually clone a repo and have infrastructure in place, have everything set up on
that
your
is correct.
machine, ready
Yes,
to go. With this feature, I can do it right here in the browser. I don't need anything
yes,
else. That's
exactly.
awesome.
So let me show you, for example, the difference, right? So if I go again on guides on the Spring.io/guides, and for example, I choose messaging with RabbitMQ. Something that you're gonna notice right here is that you need to set up your RabbitMQ broker, right?
Yep.
So practically, it says, yeah, you have the brew installed RabbitMQ. Of course, they point you out if you are a Windows user or you are with a
I'm on
different operative
Linux. I
system.
don't
Of
have brew.
course, you can do these things, right? So it's getting you step by step. Now, if we click here, work on the cloud, we're going to go into the guides inside the spring.academy/guides slash messaging with RabbitMQ, and I can start my lab. So when I start the lab, practically all the infrastructure is there, right? So practically RabbitMQ is already installed, so you don't need to work on this, right? So practically you are here. You have the terminal. You have all the code, the necessary code, and practically you can start, running the same guide over here, right? So that's practically the
I
same you already seeing here is going to work over here on this.
I
Plus,
love this. I love this. Um sorry. Go ahead.
no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I love this because as like a beginner, when I'm like doing something, when I run into all this like setup stuff,
It's all
if
this.
I like
Yeah.
run into a problem, I'm more likely to just abandon that altogether. And now you've lost me. You've lost me from that experience. And this just kind of puts me in there and allows me to like focus on the code instead of all the infrastructure around it. And I love this. I'm a big fan of it. DaShaun and I talk a lot about Docker Compose and test containers and the idea of git clone run. Like I want to just be able to run your example. I don't want to like set up all these things. So I love this.
I'm kicking myself right now because I've spent, actually the last about week trying to build these demos that I'm trying to build it so that, hey, yeah, make sure you install this and do all this, install this. I should have just been doing them over here on Spring Academy so that people can go and use them. So,
Yep.
Felipe, after this, we got to talk. We got to talk. Okay.
Very good.
Sorry, we'll come back
Yeah,
to that.
so kind of an experience here will be that some of the guys that are right now be converted into whatever you need, right? So there are going to be ones there where you need, for example, JMS, right? All the Java message service, and normally they tell you, hey, yeah, you need to install with ActiveMQ. You don't need to worry about that because
Yep.
automatically we install everything and we have everything right here in our infrastructure, right? So this is part of the guide. So you are right now welcome to start testing all those. And of course, the feedback are okay, right? Or, we have the feedback, of course, for every single one of these guides. So if you are running into trouble, of course, you can actually, comment on that, and we are going to fix it, right? So that's
Great.
part of those things.
Felipe, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Kind of a comment. Like when I go through the guides, I did them on Spring Academy. Most of them I recognize because I've been doing them. I'm going back to the same guide year after year because they're awesome. And like, oh, and it's just a reminder. Cool, cool, cool. I go into the academy. What I've been doing lately is I take that guide and I clone it and I do the thing and then I just deploy it to ASAE. I got a little Terraform, like stand it up and deploy it over here to ASAE. My question is, if I go there in Spring Academy, no, I already answered my question because the guide, the guide on spring.io has all the prerequisites. It tells you, hey, you got to install this, install this,
Yes,
install this.
that is
So,
correct.
okay, I'm catching up
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I'm a little
So
slow.
practically, for example, Java 17, Gradle. Of course, we are using VS Code by default. So let me show you, for example, one of the courses, one that I author right now. Take a look that there are some gonna be something that is unlisted right here. Like just put a very quick kind of a notice here. So you're right now I'm showing you that there is a Spring Cloud Dataflow short workshop for Spring 1 in Singapore. So what we are doing right now is to use the Spring Academy infrastructure for creating workshops that at some point the people who goes to the Spring events practically have access to these workshops, and they work for every single in this case with the instructor in place,
That's awesome.
for every single part of the lab. So this is another experience that we are trying to accomplish for everything. And again, I know that the three of us already submit some talks for Dev Nexus next year, and of course this infrastructure is ready for you guys. So practically you can create your own workshop and talk to the students instead of, hey, you need to install or you need to come up with your
Mm-hmm.
laptop already prepped. Like, yeah, you need to install Java 17, or you need to install Java 21, or you need to have both. And now you need to install VS Code or IntelliJ. No worries.
Not only,
Practically, we
yeah,
can we can yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Not only that, but like once you do that in a workshop, Deshaun and I have done this. So you're in a workshop, you got to set all these things up. You go through the workshop, then you leave the workshop, and it's like, how can I recreate that on my own when I'm at home when I have nothing when I want to do it again? And it's really hard to do that. So if we had a workshop that we can deliver at like DevNexus, And then, hey, when you leave DevNexus and you want to go home and you want to try this again and like
Yes,
let it sink in, here's that workshop again. So
that is correct.
I really love
That's
that.
the purpose. Yes. So yeah, and practically, again, even I'm showing you some of the new courses that are coming, right? And I want to jump in one of them, one of the ones that I author over here, so I can explain more in detail what's going on. So practically, you can choose courses, of course. You can choose your favorite, and as you can see, this is free, and it has a kind of a beginner intermediate level. And one of the cool things is like, hey, I want to learn more about JWT authentication. How can I do this, right? So practically, yes, we start the lab, and kind of the main idea is to get you with this experience. So for example, the guides, right now we have a very heavy load, but normally you're going to see this, right? And you're going to see part of the code. You're going to see all the code that we are using for this. So if you're familiar already with VS Code, this is the way to go, right? So we are using VS Code as a part of this infrastructure, and this is one of the cool things. Sometimes it tells you, right, like kind of an instruction, hey, you need to go and open the editor, right? So you need to go to exercise build Gradle. So it will be nice, like just with a click, automatically it opens everything for you. So you don't need to look for all these guy or do certain stuff. Practically, we are kind of playing around with all these features in our infrastructure so the developer has the best experience possible, right? So that's kind of an idea. And of course, we have all these terminals that allows you to go back and forth on all this. So that's kind of an idea, right? So you do these kind of things and go into every single one of these steps. And this is one of the cool things. Hey, you need to change the login. You need to go to exercise main resources application. So normally you go like, okay,
Mm,
source main resources. No, just click right here and automatically give you everything. Just
perfect.
even we are actually testing some kind of a copy and paste. So practically, very soon you're going to have a button that just click here, and automatically
Very
you
nice.
have everything in place. So you need to worry about
Awesome.
just select and copy and then paste it. So that's kind of an experience that we are looking on this. So that's part of the courses. Again, you have many courses. We have right now. Right now, this is production, right? This is our Spring Academy, and as you can see, there are something that it says live, and some in draft. Like for example, there is a new upcoming
We're getting the
event
inside
in
scoop.
Spring stream. There is, of course, the upgrading from Spring Boot to 7.2.3.1 to 5.2.2.7. And I know that you guys are already invited to create one of these
Yes.
amazing courses. And of course, um, we have our learning path over here. And the learning path allows you to know about from the REST API, going into the professional learning path with a Spring Framework and a Spring Boot. And of course, you can get your exam voucher once you already go
Nice.
through every single one of these courses. Take a look. It's around 5 hours here, 34 minutes, 8 hours, 11 hours to
Wow.
actually explain you what's going on,
Lots of
all the
content.
years
45
on
lives. There's tons of
Spring.
stuff.
Yes.
It doesn't matter
And of
how
course,
much we prepare and we say, hey, you got to have this installed. You got to have, no matter what the prerequisites are, somebody's going to show up to our course, to our workshop, and they're going to say, I can't
yes.
install Java. I can't install Red. What should I do? This
Yes,
is
of
why, Dan,
course.
I was saying at the beginning, like,
And we're
we
saving
need to
the
think
space
about
for you
this.
guys right
We
here.
need to think
Yes.
about this.
Right here. Yeah, Dan.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
sir.
I
Yes.
I
And of
love it.
course,
And
the last part.
I actually had a chance to go through that rest course that you highlighted, and I thought it was wonderful. And one of the things you already kind of showed off, I really enjoyed not having to leave the browser. Everything was right there. I was
Yes.
learning on the one side. I was able to write code on the right. I'm not like switching context to like read or watch something, then go do something. So I really appreciated that. And like I had nothing but great things to say about that Rust course. I thought it was really good. So,
Can I tell you another
and
one of my favorite things
yes,
about these courses? I like the way that they use the to dos. Like so you can be, hey, I'm working on the course. They're set
yep,
up in such a way that I can jump in. Oh, I got 20 minutes. Let me go learn something. And some, I don't know if all of them, some of these courses they've got little like the little to do. So you like have a list, a checkbox of,
yeah.
hey, here's where you are.
Yeah.
Exactly, you pick up right where you left off. I really like that feature. I
You know,
really like that
and
feature.
I agree with that. And it's something else we talk with Ted a lot about the couple times that we've had Ted on, and I know Ted's always a part of this show. But one thing he always kind of stresses is try not to teach people with these archaic like models of like, oh, I have I don't know, zoo animals, right, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I love the examples that the team has put together with this. The one like building out the credit card system,
that it's
the
real.
graph,
Yeah,
like a real world example. The graphics are great. The writing is great. So you could say I'm a big fan,
the
DaShaun.
the writing is great. Like it's high quality stuff. There's a question here, like has anyone passed the current Spring Framework certification up on Spring Academy? And we have some, yes, we have some friends that have passed.
Yes.
And I know because I say it all the time. My friend Thomas right here, he's already asking. He's already passed the certification, but he's like, when is that Spring Modulus course going to be there? Just so you know, Thomas, I asked Oliver. I asked him on Slack, and I tagged Dan. It's like, hey, is anybody working on this? Because if they're not, I'm going to volunteer. So you just stay
Yes.
tuned. But Thomas is one that has, he's a part of this community. He's taken the test, he's done it, and I talk about it all the time. Yes, it's totally worth it. Do it. People love it. I've gotten great feedback from multiple people when I go to
Yeah.
conferences. So definitely take a look. And if you want to reach out to somebody, I'll bet you Thomas will tell you a
Yes.
thing or two.
Spring Modulate is one of the courses that are already in staging. So
There you go.
so no worries. We are coming with a lot of great content, and of course, these list of topics are going to start growing and growing and growing. And of course, you can
That's
filter all
awesome.
those. Uh, and of course, these free access are going to be incremental. That we are devoted to put all these free content. Of course, part of the pro piece will be more on the certification path, right? So that's kind of the idea. And finally, I want to show you that again, this is more for managers, right? So I have my company, and now I want to create a team. Of course, you create the team. Uh, you practically start adding your work email and everything, and it's going to guide you step by step what to do in order to add more of your coworkers and create special teams that allows you to say, hey, I want to assign this particular topic. For example, I know then that probably you're going to start working on your GraphQL a course. So
No
so there's
pressure.
going to be part of the course and part of the requirements because these new company are experimenting with GraphQL. So practically you need to do those things.
It's great.
Uh,
Perfect.
so that's kind of a great way to start with teams and have your developers be part of this community. And kind of the plans are at some point that even we in the future we are going to start accepting even some proposals from the outside world, meaning
Wow,
that
that's
hey,
awesome.
if you are a Spring developer advocate and you want to contribute with some of the courses because probably you already have all this knowledge, come on, submit your proposal. We're going to talk to you, and of course we are going to make this happen. And I know that we don't have these listed here. They are going to be very soon, but already we have a collaboration with JetBrains. So JetBrains already give us two courses with how to set up your Spring Boot environment using
Yes. Wait.
IntelliJ community version and the enterprise version. So they're
Awesome.
coming up. Probably they're going to be in this week. So stay tuned for those courses as well.
Awesome.
This is
This is
great.
great.
How are we
Yeah.
ever going to like level up to this? Like, I feel like we've done so much in this episode. Like, this is gonna be hard to top here.
I do have one question. If I'm going through any of the guides, any of the courses, or friends out in the audience are going through one of the courses, and they come across something that, what if it maybe they have some feedback on a particular course? What's the best way to provide feedback to the Spring Academy team?
Yes, every course, just to give you a heads up, once you enter, you have your progress, you have your if
Oh,
you're on the
nice.
certified professional, you have your favorites. But for example, yeah, I have my course and I need to go. For example, let's go to the one that I was doing, and I say, hey, probably there's something going on maybe my lab didn't work, so practically in every single one of these things, in one of the lessons or modules, you're gonna have to your right side give a
Nice.
feedback. So if you
Awesome.
click there, you're gonna say, "Hey, I think it's a bug. Okay, it's okay to contact me." And practically, you are part now of the Spring Academy because you are contributing, in this case, to make this better, right? So that's
Awesome.
kind of an idea
Love
of
that.
giving the feedback.
So
Cool.
good.
All right.
My
Well,
mind's
Len,
racing.
we covered a lot.
Yes.
We are coming up on it, so I think we'll kind of end it there. But that was awesome. Spring Academy, so much to do there. Like I said, I wanted to talk to you today about this so I can learn about a few of these things because I'm going to get certified in the new year. Hopefully, either that or you'll just see me disappear off the face of the earth.
Shame.
But yeah, shame. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to, and really, I'm hoping to kind of document that journey to just let others know that, like, hey, it wasn't hard. You don't need to be scared of it. If you go through Spring Academy, there is the resources to get you prepared for that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to
Oh, this is a
providing some
question.
feedback and possibly creating a course over there. So
This is a good question. Is it possible
yep.
to filter spring guides by availability in Spring Academy lessons? I think what we saw is if we go into that guide and there's, for the ones that are available, they'll have that button that says, hey, click here, and then
Yes.
you can go and launch it. So just stay tuned because they're coming. You can see it. We've got a bunch that are coming
Yep.
in the pipeline. So I'd just say stay tuned. And if there's one that you're like eager to try in the Spring Academy, just let us know. Like, yeah, you know people.
Yes.
Like, give us a call.
Or
Perfect.
just
Yeah.
go into Spring Academy and click on the guides. Those are all the ones that are in there.
Yeah.
So you can just get to them from
Yes.
there.
This is great.
Cool. All
At
right.
the same time, Jonathan's here. And Jonathan, I got a question for you. Jonathan challenged me to do some PRs for the stuff that he's working on. So I'm wondering maybe if I did the work to take your tea house demo, which is beautiful, and make that into a course or guide on Spring Academy, people would eat that up. That would be
Yeah. I,
wonderful.
I have also another message for Jonathan. Jonathan, we need micrometer course right now. Yes, we need it.
Let's go.
We
Let's go.
need observability.
I will
We
help.
need all this.
I will
Of
help.
course,
That
we
would be
have
awesome.
everything there.
Would that? I wonder if that'll get me off the hook for submitting PRs with Jonathan. But yes, I'm committed. Let's do it. Let's do it. Wait,
Cool.
Dan wants to rewind. Oh boy, you're gonna have to save it. You're gonna have to download the podcast, available everywhere you can get your podcasts. We're there.
Yeah. Or the live stream is always available on YouTube. So check out the Spring Developer channel and you can find it there. With that, Felipe, I would just want to thank you for taking some time out of your day for
Really,
talking
thank
to
you.
us about Spring
Relax.
Academy. I learned a few things I didn't know today, so I'm excited about that. And I'm definitely going to be pinging you as I start my journey to certification. I'm going to be bribing
Sure.
you with cookies to
Cookies.
get some answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's going to
I
be
can,
exciting. So, yeah. So we'd love to
very
hear
good.
from you. If anybody out there is going through some courses, if anybody's trying to get certified as well, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Again, thanks, Felipe. Thanks for everyone who's joined us here in the live chat today. thanks to those who are joining us on the podcast. Again, we are going to be off next week for Thanksgiving week here in the U.S. But right after that, on the 28th, we are going to have a Spring Boot 3.2 release party. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about all the new features in Spring Boot 3.2.
We need that course.
All right.
So with that, thanks everyone, and we will see you
Thank
on
you,
the
guys.
next one. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.